Okay, now we're recording. Got this. There. I have a mirror over here so I can see what's going on. It's very nice. Apple pecan turnover. It's been a while since I did a reading, so it's time that I do. I'm probably going to approach the MBTI readings a little differently. I kind of was just like in the moment of starting that. I was just like, I need to do something. And I had that idea for a while. Doesn't quite want to light. It's like 3 dots on the bottom and then an extra on the side and 2 there. A little smiley face, kind of. I already lit the Palo Santo. I might have to scrape a little bit of this off so it starts like lighting again. But yeah, I haven't done a reading in a while because of just so much going on, and I didn't want to be influenced by suppressed heavy emotions. Now that it's in the jar, it's like smoking. But yeah, I didn't want to like get too much of the energy I was dealing with in my personal life into the reading. I don't know what this reading's gonna be yet, I have to be honest. I have 3 piles here. Try not to dump this on the floor. I keep forgetting that the camera's on the side and not. Okay, so this is my workspace. I have 3 piles, and we're just gonna kind of go because yeah, I'm not getting any specifics yet. I have something in mind, but I'm gonna see what happens here. Yeah. That card felt like it was sticking to my hand, like as I was shuffling. Yeah, I guess I'm out of frame for shuffling. So the World came out. The Queen of Cups. This means something to me. This is almost impossible for me to shuffle. In the same way, so Now, before I take those cards, I'm going to feel the energy. I don't know if all of them are. Okay, I had my eyes closed, right? And so when I looked down, I just saw like these up and these down. This one down here. I don't know what showed on camera. So that'll be interesting to look back at. And somehow I got these cards together and with this one. So that might be significant. And I like you to see my face when I'm shuffling, so you know when my eyes are closed and what I'm looking at. Sorry that the thing's like very... I get both my face and the thing. But yeah, whether something is... like whether something resonates with you is up to you. What you believe is up to you. It's not my job to convince you of anything. I just want to be open and honest about like the information. And there's a lot of cards coming out for this, so I might have to discern through them. Nope, nope. Maybe I'm shuffling a little loose. This is the one that was on the floor. The Fool on the bottom. We have some. So I have a little bit of a separation in the cards. Two of the cards got pulled into this one, and these two are facing down. So I believe this is a separate situation or separate person, but these kind of go together. We got 4 wands and 4 coins. Empress, Ace of Swords. That kind of looks and 7 of Pentacles. Oh, we have one flipped over here. Wait, and that. So Empress is about creation. I want to be PG about this, but this kind of looks like the entrance to the world, if you know what I mean. Like a birth. And then 7 of Pentacles is the Harvest card. And these two are in reverse. So we got the Sun, King of Swords, Queen of Swords. One is reversed, one is upright. And the Sun. So counterpart, I'll have to figure out why it's like that. A lot of interesting stuff going on right now. Seven of Swords. So she's looking up at the, I thought they were roses at first. There's like plants. Kind of looks like roses. It's not focused. I don't know if that'll focus. To me, it looks like these swords coming in are holding on to these plants. I'm just trying to figure out if it's I'm trying to figure out what these are. But at first I saw like roses or flowers, but they look like leaf clusters. But it's like she's curiously looking up, and her hand is on one of the swords. And she's pushing one of the swords away. Or downward, as if like these have been there for a while and she's like I'm trying to get my thought together before I speak. It's kind of like they're separating. That'll probably make sense, more sense later. I'm gonna tip this up or else you're just gonna be staring at the cards. I mean, you can pause and screenshot if you want to. So, Four of Wands, harmony, relaxation, celebration, home, community. And the Four of Wands I think of as the coming home card. That's the card where there's like two, and then a some flowers, I think. Yeah, beneath a large wreath. Returning home or being with people and places most familiar to you can be soul enriching. Take this time to soak up the bliss and appreciate the good things in life. This is a good time to work on renovating or redecorating your home space. It's been a little difficult for me to talk lately, probably because I haven't been talking a lot. I was resting my voice for a little bit, and then I was streaming Harvest Moon 64, streaming it, recording my television, which the quality isn't the greatest, but I'm trying. So I have ideas in my head, it's just having trouble coming out. Or maybe it's just I'm nervous to actually say the message that I'm getting, which isn't like a bad message. It's just like very specific towards something that I am personally focused on. So I'm just making sure that this is what wants to come out rather than what I want to say. So my lips like doing something weird. Okay, I'm going to speak a little vaguely at first, and then I'll clarify everything later. So the world, this is the end of the journey. This is getting to that completed state. And Queen of Cups. It might be hard to read these. If the world reveals itself in an upright position, it is showing that there is a great unity and wholeness. Something big is happening soon. A marriage, a birth, new jobs, or something similar. Your efforts are being noticed and you will reap the rewards. So we saw, like, it was cards in reverse. We'll get to that. But we saw reverse. Okay, I said that because I was thinking about the king and queen of swords and how the queen is reversed. And sometimes when I do readings and there's two different energies, one energy will come up reversed and the other one will come up upright. So that might be related. Like the Queen of, having two different piles, the Queen of Swords, it's probably like the Empress and that energy. The Queen of Cups, you're feeling sensitive and intuitive, and you've attuned yourself to the emotional needs of others. You're open spiritually and are moved by the tragedy and beauty of life, never reacting with impatience or anger, always having a kind word for all. And we have the Six of Wands in reverse. I'll show it upright. And we have some flowers bordering the corners. Six of Wands is the victory card. I got celery in my mouth, sorry. Now Ace of Pentacles was reversed, but I'm going to show it upright. Got Two of Swords. She does not have a blindfold in this. There's the moon, there's fire, Two Swords, her eyes are closed. And then we have the Six of Coins. And this is the story of a lady who is kind to bugs. Alright, I'm gonna have to give it the message without worrying how it's gonna be received, which is usually how I speak to others, is I think about how things are gonna be received. But this is something that's gonna want to come out, and it just wants to come out, and I need to stop blocking it. So I'll read this one because I don't get this card often in this deck. The Two of Swords represent being stuck between hard choices. Sita's, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Sita's decision between Sikla and Sharbidis. Sorry, I'm not used to India and Hindu language. Is not easy and cannot be made blindly. It calls for self-reflection. Things can only remain balanced for so long before a move must be made. And this is India Hindu epic Ramayana. I do know what the Two of Swords means, but I didn't know this story. So it's deciding between two people there. And I'll look up the Queen and King of Swords because I usually take the original meaning, but I haven't really looked very much into the story that it's related to in this deck. So this deck is based on stories and folklore around the world, so it could change the meaning a little bit. So China, Arabic folktale. The Queen of Swords is a fierce and enacting force. Turandot does not forget betrayal, so her judgments, while fair and principled, seem brutal and cold. Still, she is open-minded and intelligent, and can be charming and witty when she chooses. Persia, Persian mythology. The King of Swords represents wisdom balanced by power. The griffin is a noble and intelligent creature soaring over land and sea, a symbol for patience, perseverance, and judgment. So you might want, this is just about the mythology. There might be a story of significance. So it says reverse: bitterness, vindication, judgment, malice, and pessimism, which does relate to the thing that's on my mind right now. And this says authority, structure, logic, self-discipline, loyalty. So thinking about, now I said this was for the separate pile. So this is what's been on my mind. There is a musical group called Oneus, and they're based on the world. And before I pulled this card, I was thinking maybe I should do a reading on them. But being like a K-pop group, and I quote K-pop because they don't necessarily follow the exact guidelines for K-pop and everything. It's more, I feel like personally they are more theatrical based, and their name being Oneus is about like being one, which does, like, this does encompass that meaning. And they are very in tune with the emotional needs of each other. They never react in impatience or anger. And they have a good, like they were in a competition where it's like very high stakes, and they refused to play in a part of, being like combative. They're more supportive. They actively supported those who they were up against, excuse me. During their performances, they would hold up signs of support for them. I don't know how much of that I want to say, but they choose to be supportive. And recently there was a decision that upset a lot of people. Queen of Swords in reverse. Those who have stood by justice, I see like the fans being a little stubborn towards their recent decision, which is to be loyal and just to all. They're stuck in a position where they have to choose between two different moons. Now, Two Moon is their fandom name. And like if this is irritating you, if it feels like I don't know, if it doesn't seem serious for you, you can either choose to continue to watch or you can leave, because this is something very close to my heart, and I'm not going to accept people saying negative things. So if you feel like you want to say negative things, I invite you to just leave the video, because this is what the video is going to be about. And it's not for like popularity. This is just what's coming out because it's very significant in my life. And so I can speak on what I've learned through these experiences. That's the importance of this right now. They had to choose between two sides of the fandom. And that is because, and I'll point to the fire, somebody in the group was targeted and blamed and what's the wording I want to use? Pretty much from like several different angles all at once. They were kind of attacked for their like to me it feels like somebody was just trying to drag this person down, and they ended up leaving the sorry I'm trying to like talk in a way to be sympathetic to the situation as a whole. Pretty much Oneus had 5 wins back to back to back to back to back, and then all of a sudden there was like some random account on Twitter accused this one member who was the leader, accused him of all this different stuff, and then there was a video and audio which were altered. People scrutinized, as in looked at it closely and determined that it was manipulated, and a lot of stuff happened with that. So I just got a message I'm just gonna look at it. He said there are 59 minutes left. Not sure why, because I'm not. Oh, probably for. I don't know. probably for something with the schedule, of course. But it's very interesting. So there were originally 6 members, and these came out reversed. But there were originally 6 members, and then there was a lot of arguments over whether they were 5 or not. And they just released an album that was like the Penta versions of a lot of their popular songs, and that's why the people who support the member whose name was dragged through the fire, they are upset about this album version because it's like they are excluding the member who was dragged through the fire, and it feels like their justice wasn't served. And yeah, I do ask that you listen to the message neutrally at this time. Yeah, judgment, malice, pessimism. So there is a lot of pessimism right now and judgment towards the company, which my personal thoughts are that they're trying to they're trying to not choose between which fandom that they cater to, because it's unfair to cater to one side or the other. And let's see. It says that something big is happening soon, which there's been a lot of tension in this situation. I personally have learned a lot of growth through it, and it's very hard to say in small amount of words how much growth, because I learned how to become the Queen of Swords, upright through the situation. When people are arguing back and forth, I used to be not super immature, but less mature than I am now about how I would respond to people, and the things that I was saying was kind of with a personal bias attached to it, whereas now I'm seeing things from an outward perspective. But you see in the distance there's a kraken, and then there's a whirlpool sucking in. So it's on one hand it's grasping, trying to control, and the other hand it's sucking them in. And it's the difference between people putting pressure on them to do one thing and being pulled in a different direction. They're kind of having to balance through this, and they had to make this decision to try to please everyone, because it might be their last album for at least 2 years. I don't know, they don't know what the future holds. We don't know. It's looking like a hiatus is gonna happen, And there's a lot of emotional attachment to this, more so on the side of the people who understand the tragedies that, like, some people might think that it sounds ridiculous, but caring about somebody and watching their life be turned upside down in front of your eyes, where you are powerless to do anything to defend them, to stand up for them, to protect them, that is so upsetting in so many different ways. And it's different than American celebrities. American celebrities, they keep to themselves, they do their thing, they make their bag, but they don't connect as deeply as, like, K-pop idols do. And that protects them in a way, but that also dehumanizes them in their fans' eyes sometimes. So when I say that this stuff is very emotional, it's not just somebody sings music, looks good, and you get an emotional connection to that. It's all the fan interactions with the fan calls and, like, interactions on stage, getting to know the members for who they are, them all having a balanced role. There's a lot to it, a lot more to it. It's a lot more community based, especially like in Korea. A lot of things are community based because they had China and Japan fighting over their land, and when one was knocked off, the other one took a hold, and finally they became independent. And they didn't have a lot of money at all, so they had to be community based. They had to help each other. You know, the whole theory with, not theory, but sorry, my lips are very dry, it's distracting me, but you know how the whole thing with the long spoons, that everyone will starve unless they help each other. That's how the foundation of Korea pretty much is. So they're very community based. Think about small town versus a city. Small town, they're gonna know each other, and you know, there's positives and negatives to both sides, as opposed to like city life, which is what I would compare American life to, like United States of America. And so the culture is completely different because of the different origins. So I just want to make that clear. So we have the Six of Coins here, and there's a lot of, you know, struggle between the 5 and the 6. People who support the 5, people who support the 6. And there's also people who support, like, excuse me, there's like this little bit of lip skin that I just had to take care of. So how do I explain this without going into the weeds of it? You know, I'm gonna trim some of the fat, and if you're interested in the rest of the information, maybe I'll do a video about it. But I need to focus on the message right now. So if you look, there are 5, right? And then 1's being let out. We haven't gotten information about the 6th member in, like, since 2022. There hasn't been any clarification. It was the end of 2022 in October that something happened, that happened. And it's interesting how there were 5 awards, and it feels like this whole time I've been watching the situation with Oneus, and there's so much spirituality connected to that, where it's just like there has to be something orchestrated in this that affects a lot of the fans who are a part of it, because there's so much symbolism and just happenstance that is very hard to be actually orchestrated by humans. You know what I mean? Like, they won 5 awards right before they had to become 5. And I said to this member who had to leave that, wow, there's almost an award for each of you. And that stuck out to me. And this person who had to leave is a very caring person. You could read it in his face, in his expressions, in just everything he does. Now, yes, he was a child model and became, like, people do training to be an idol, but not everybody has this quality who is an idol. He would during the fan meetings, he would hold people's hands and look directly at them and listen to what they were saying and provide like a warm space and environment for them to be able to share what they're saying. It was very welcoming, and I'm trying to remember, like, I get a whole bunch of ideas and I try to, like, when I pause, I'm trying to remember what I had, like, pinned there. He was very supportive to all the members too, and encouraging to them. Excuse me. That's why I find it so hard to believe that he did these horrible things. I do that just because I do that, because I'm not saying, you know, the company said that there was false evidence, and there was somebody else involved, another girl who was involved, who spoke up against the person who had originally, like, the Twitter X person who had came out with the accusations, used some random person's account to say that they were dating, and just spin this, like, web of stuff. And when it comes to the court, who cares who's dating who? And also, you don't want to add a lot of variables to a case. If you are seeking justice, you don't want to pull in the entire, you know, internet into that, because then that just distorts all the information and therefore causes chaos. And that's what manipulators do, that's what narcissists do, that's what people who have very bad intentions towards people do, is they cause confusion and chaos, so that way people don't know what to think. And you've probably had friends who've done this, like in high school or whatever, where they, or even like bullies, you've seen that happen. Like, there's no way nobody has seen that happen. There's people who see it happen and ignore it, but, you know, it happens to a lot of people, where there's this one person who will cause chaos and you don't know whether to believe them or not, because things are so confusing. You don't want to think about it because you get stressed about it. I have to deal with people like that pretty often, just from maybe being in a small town myself, I've had a few friends like that. I've just known several people. I maybe the type of person I am, I've made quite a few friends who, like, I was shy in high school, so I didn't seek out friendships. I would wait for somebody to come to me. When I would wait for someone to come to me, I would get the people who are like, oh, she's quiet, she's docile, she doesn't cause a fuss. If I lie to her, she's not going to say anything about it because she doesn't want conflict. When you're conflict avoidant, but accepting of other people, it's a huge target for people to be like, oh, I can manipulate you because you're not going to be combative to me. There's no risk for me. So I think that's why I've had to deal with a lot of people who were manipulative, and they use these tactics of confusion, alteration. If you study narcissism, you can see a lot of those tactics. So when I speak up for this member who was removed, it's because my heart knows better and my mind knows better, and they're both in sync, because my intuition and my, like, the physical evidence aligns with it being false accusations. There was something about him asking for clothing. I completely saw that as a mistranslation, because he had used a pair of pants to, he had a red pair of, I think it was Adidas, that he sewed into some jeans, and he said something along the lines of, they won't give me a new pair. But that could have been going to the store and you're asking for a specific type of clothing and they don't have it. Because the way the Korean language is, it's very dependent on the situation. If I say 이거 없어요, it means it doesn't exist, it isn't there, we don't have it, a whole bunch of things like that. But depending on the context, I was trying to think of the word context, it's very context sensitive. So, and I'm laughing at context sensitive just because, like, it's in a video game. I learned it from a video game that's very inappropriate. But it's a very important thing to know about, is when things are context sensitive. So things can easily be twisted if it's not very specific, which is why I think, like, English is very specific about what people talk about, because of just the nature is very not community based. It's very self based, very take care of your own family and F the rest type based, because of, like, it just, like, the nature of having a huge country, as opposed to, like, a smaller country, like, as the size of the land and the amount of people. So anyway, went on a tangent, but it was important. So this card shows the sixth one being let out and the other 5 greeting them. Now, he had to be in military service for a while, and he's not the type of person, like, he's very King of Swords, Queen of Swords himself. I'm sorry, I keep having to look up these 2 cards just because I'm wanting to relate specifically to what it's saying and not say it wrong. Patient, perseverance, and judgment. So he's a very patient person, and definitely persevering, because he has, instead of giving up when his whole life was ripped out from underneath him, he continued to make music. He continued to be there for his fans and support them without being too intermingled. He's not like, he's not unprofessional with the way he is interacting. Having trouble with wording, but it's not, it doesn't cross boundaries. Excuse me. Like, he doesn't talk to people one-on-one in DMs or anything. That's just something you don't do as a, excuse me, a lot of people don't do. There are K-pop idols that have replied to my story. Like, they'll post a story, I'll say a nice comment, like, you know how you can like send them a message, and then they'll like put a heart on it or something, or they'll just say thank you. And sometimes you'll get that here and there, but he doesn't do that. He speaks to the group, like the fandom as a whole. And just checking the timer. He speaks to the fandom as a whole, and not like directly, he doesn't like directly talk to them anymore. He used to when he was in Oneus, but he doesn't anymore, because he understands there is this boundary, and he needs to be careful of that. I'm not saying he's like a perfect person, but the example he gives to others is caring, patience, you know, being wise, you know. So I feel like Oneus as a group, every single one of them embodies that as well. So I can't say for the future what's going to happen at this point, but the Two of Swords is between the 6 and the 5, and it's a very like profound thing to be a part of. And like, Spirit led me to this group for a reason. As soon as I saw this member that was, I'll say, excommunicated, I think he made a decision to leave the groups as to not cause any further issues, because it would bring down the entire group if he did, because of the way Korean fans are like, you don't do A, B, C, D, or else you're out, you know. Like with K-pop, it's cancel season everywhere, and there are so many idols that it was like the idol apocalypse back then. It was, I don't know if somebody just had like some vendetta, if it was like, this is just, it's a half joke but not really, half joke theory that, you know, North Korea wants to take over South Korea, and potentially, like, one of the biggest ways to do that is to attack the K-pop community, because it's such a big source of revenue. Like, if you want to take down a country, you want to first take down their revenue. So it very well could have been that somebody in North Korea could have set up a thing where they go after, knowing how strict the, you know, the rules for being basically a Korean influencer. And I'm not downplaying it by saying influencer. I'm just saying in the term of influencing others. You notice how I had to put wax on this so it didn't burn up too fast. I'm gonna relight this. But that's a great potential for motives behind taking somebody down. Is like, if it's a country that just wants to take somebody down, say I'm a secret agent in North Korea, and I'm trying to like put like South Korea into a state of vulnerability. Or let's say I'm just like any other country that wants to put South Korea in a like a state of vulnerability financially. I would be like, what's their biggest point of revenue? It would be, okay, K-pop brings in a lot of stuff. Who's winning these competitions, these public competitions? Who's the most popular? Who has the most eyes on them? And can we cause complete destruction there? Oh, this group has 5 awards and they're just rising. Let's just go after them. They're doing well, you know, like Stray Kids had somebody come out against Hyunjin saying that he was bullying him, but he wasn't. Which could be like completely separate. Now, I'm not saying this is happening. I'm just saying that I want to add that there could be more perspectives in something like this. I don't want to cause any worry. I don't want to cause any concern. I'm just like pretty much INTPing it. A bit ENTPing it with the whole possible conspiracies thing, but I want to be mindful of how people might be receiving it. So like, don't panic. That I'm just like saying that it was just really weird, and I want to call some attention to it just so people can have eyes on it. I don't want anyone being paranoid or being upset. I just like putting it out there as something to keep your eyes on and be discerning when it comes to like motives for trying to cancel people these days. Because for a while it was only really people who were doing wrong things who would get a lot of negative attention, and then they would be canceled, and then people would be, yay, that villain is gone. But now it's like, I don't like this person, let's just have you seen the movie Mean Girls? Where she's like, she's trying to take down Regina George, but in the end she ends up being the bad guy because she's doing all this manipulating and trying to like capsize this queen bee, and she becomes the queen bee, and everybody's just like, I don't know. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. As far as like trying to capsize other people. Slippery slope. So don't be the Queen of Swords in reverse. Now, speaking of the Queen of Swords in reverse, we do have the Sun. So that is something positive. Now, this other energy over here, which could be the fandom as a whole. Like the fandom as a whole is being so horrible to each other, and I'm personally sick of it. But we do have things coming to light, and I've been getting that message for a while that something that I've been agonizing over is going to come to light. And I've been getting that message for a couple of years, which You can't just be there sitting in anticipation, waiting for that answer. That's huge things that I learned from here, is a lot of things are happening behind the scenes that you have to just go about your business, be the best person that you can be, and know in your heart that there'll be a resolution. And that's what this is. It's also interesting to know that in the Oneus lore, there is the sun god who is jealous of Oneus and is trying to entrap them in, like, I don't know specifics, but part of them, like soul, heart, mind, something, is in a necklace, and part of them is like locked away somewhere else, and they were cursed to be not able to see the sun and live in the sun, and it was dark all the time, and only the blood moon. Okay, come back home has a lot of stuff with that. But anyway, the sun god Helios is jealous of these monarchs. And that's the whole story. And it's very interesting how their story kind of played out in real life of, well, I don't want to get in the weeds about that. Just interesting. So there's a snake around the sun. So they had an album called Malice, and then there also is the Malice Theory. The Malice Theory says something about, I don't know all about it, I just saw an image by happenstance. One of the fans, I want to say friends because somebody I'm like following. So, relates intensity of light before and after passing through a polarizing filter. So, if you think about polarization, that is this right here. Positive and negative, polarizing. Polarizing of the fandom, the followers, those who are influenced, excuse me, by this group that does shed like a lot of light in people's lives. When you think of the term light worker, these guys are light workers. And specifically, and it's interesting because the member who left, one of his things to say was Ra spit flame, and Ra is the sun god. And proves everything is illuminated with optimism and enthusiasm for the path ahead. And let's just show you that. So that's important. Because you have these fans who are supportive of him and those who aren't. But he is like, if somebody's being a bug, if someone's bugging people, you know, they're gentle to them. I've been gentle to those who are against this person because of what he's been accused of. Usually you want to side with the victims in that case. But this situation is different because it was an anonymous person and all this other extra stuff was added. It's not just that accusation. It's just like a whole bunch of things. If you say, hey mom, so brother took a cookie from the jar when you weren't looking, and she's like, what? You did what? Oh, also, and he, since you believe that, there's a long laundry list of things that I want to accuse him of. I felt like that. And I don't know. Anyway, so the Four of Coins is usually like the miser, like some people say is the miser, is wanting to hold on to something so bad. And those who support him want to hold on to him being in the group so bad, which is a part of loyalty. It's a part of wanting justice. And I feel like it's hurting them. And I, like, this is the part of the fandom I've been close with. The other part of the fandom, I can't, like, say negative things about because they believe somebody did something to hurt another and they don't want to support them. But on both sides, there's going to be people who just are like this. They're, you know, in reversed energy. And then you have, so 4 is on both sides, remember, is, you know, it felt like home, like being, like, this person, the one member, was like home to a lot of people, and a lot of people want to hold on to him, and a lot of people want to hold on to Oneus as is right now too. So circling back to when I saw the 7 of Swords, and why I thought it was roses, is roses are his symbol. Now we have a lot of roses coming out in the Dear M comeback album, and people are like, well, that's just part of the whole vampire thing. They're missing a lot of the symbolism of that, and the fact that they were pushing the, so they had these albums called Devil, and they had albums called Live, or an album called Live. And in Devil, everyone had a symbol, and this person had Rose as his symbol. And that's been a huge thing. And Dear M, he used to, like, when I say used to, it's just, I don't know if he still does refer to himself like this, but his name, his Catholic name was Michael when he went through that stuff. I don't know much about Catholicism. So M could stand for that. And 2 Moon is the fandom. So, and then there's a symbol with a star in the middle. It starts with a star in the middle, and then it swoops this way and swoops this way, and it's 2 circles that aren't completely complete, but it's like the star, which is Oneus, is still connected to both of these sides, which is why it's so cool that this card came out. I think I'm getting lost track of things, but a lot of people were mad about that. And then the next day, after like the Penta versions came out with the 5 songs, the next day there was all the cards just had roses all over it, and so that cheered up the fandom, like the ones who support the 6 of them. So I feel like this is like wanting to get to those, I don't know if these are being protected or if they're locked away, but that goes together with this. Now it's 7 of Swords, but the 7th member was 2 Moon. So it's like once that 7th sword is, I hate to say out of the picture, but not part of the decision-making process, then this can be let go. Because when Oneus is active as a group. You have both fans that need to be addressed. But when they go on hiatus, you don't have to placate to both parties. If they end their contract, they don't have to placate to both the parties, and then the truth can be revealed, which is very upsetting to me because I don't want them to end their contract. I really love them. I want to see them succeed. But if they want to reveal this truth, and we can be positive about that, because this says to be positive, saying very much do not be pessimistic. Once the fandom isn't a concern to them as far as if they're hurting them or not, they can be who they are, they can be released, which I hate that it would have to be that way, but because people won't let go of their stance that they hold so hard on to, they're gonna have to do what is best for them and what they see is best. And we have the Empress, and then this birthing canal, the Ace of Swords. And I only see it that way because it's like that. And then the Seven of Pentacles is the reaping the abundance. And the Empress, you can say, is the reason why these things are blocked. The new opportunities and the abundance is being blocked from somebody who sits on their throne feeling like they own the situation because fans are what power a group and their popularity. Unfortunately, they are also the cause of this blockage and creation of them being able to create. Now, I'm not saying that in hatred, I'm just saying that's a cause and effect. And I will say that there are, even though this is Seven of Swords, there's 6 here, 6 here. Now there's 6 parties that are affected, and plus the fandom. Whether, like, when they were saying their piece with let's not talk about how it was and let's go forward as 5, that was to try to mitigate the arguing that was happening. And then people started arguing about that, but that's just what they're going to choose to do. And this could be very well like, now if you don't resonate with everything, but you've been watching and you've been following along, you might be in a situation where you have to choose what's right for yourself over what's right for a group of people because they are being so stubborn. And in this Four of Pentacles energy, it could be that you were harmonious with them. It could be that it was your home and everything felt amazing. But because of the stubbornness and not willing to work with each other, somebody has to make a decision that will open up their blessings. And this being upright, you can see the sword. It's not very easy to see the sword on the other way. At least I don't think. It's more abstract upside down. But you see the sword here, and you see butterflies, and the moon. You see how there's a moon. There's a moon on the bottom and a moon on the top. And it's like, you know, a new creation, a new idea, a new passion. So it could be that they are opening up their future And then this is the Seven of Pentacles for them to grow. And, you know, sometimes, like, this is going to take a while to get to. They have to do their 2-year military service, each of them hopefully at the same time, so they can come back together. But hopefully when the smoke clears during those, like after those times, then they can come back all together. When, like, my theory is, and hopefully it's not biasing what I'm reading in the cards, but I feel like it's somewhat confirmed. What I'm thinking is, while they are doing their military service, the fandom cannot influence what they do, who they are, anything like that. So they can make their own decisions. And the bottom of the deck is the Fool, new beginning. Did not do that on purpose. Death is an ending. And the Fool is the beginning. So things are going to change with them, but it's going to be for the better. And I really, really hope that the fans can go within their own heart and see outside of what they want. I got playing. It's funny because it's like a new perspective, you know? It comes up like this, but it's still the Hanged Man card. You see all these roses too? It's like the fandom that doesn't support this person who had to leave is going to have to be confronted with the information that comes through with, like, King of Pentacles. They're gonna have to be confronted with what happens and be in a new perspective. But also the people who support the member who left is gonna have to be confronted with a whole new perspective. They can either, like, this is the Trials of Baba Yaga. They can either be in complete, like, denial and stubbornness. It's mostly the stubbornness. Or they can confront the external. Or they can just choose to do something else with their lives, of course. But those who really care about the guys are transforming along with them and have been from the start. There are people who I've noticed that have been stubborn and have been vindictive and angry and trying to control the situation and trying to force things. And there's people who defend the boys who are, like, not on the excommunicated members' side, but they also want, and here we have the Devil, and the Queen of Cups came up. Like, as I was saying, like, there's people who believed the lie. Eve believed the lie. Is she wrong for that? Is she really wrong for that? For believing in a lie? When she really, you know, she offered the apple to Adam because she cared about him. You know, she wanted to share. She wanted to share her knowledge. But if, like, and it might be rude of me to say that they believe a lie, but that's my perspective, is they believe this manipulation, and it's not their fault. It's because they want to do the right thing. The Empress is in reverse, but it's the Empress. And then Two of Cups. Lovers in reverse. Love is being blocked from the Empress not being quite where she needs to be, and that's not just those who support the 5, but the entirety. And we have Death on the bottom of this deck too. Metamorphosis. The Sun. King of Swords just flipped out reversed. The loudest in the room is often the weakest one in the room. Be careful that you're not misusing your power. Be cognizant of the greater good and careful that you are not using your intellect to make others feel inferior. You may be feeling lost about your understanding or options in a situation as well. Be careful that you're not stagnant, because progress can't happen if you're standing still. And I do want to say that, like, I definitely don't blame anybody who, like, as much as I love and care about this person who these things happen to, like, I don't want to, maybe I shouldn't have said they believed the lie, but somebody in this situation, be it the OT6 or the OT5, believed in manipulation. And it's not either party's fault for that. Like, I don't want to blame one side, or the other. There's Two of Cups again. It's like strong partnership and connection built on equality and mutual respect. You are receiving positive energy, so be sure to share it with others. So, you know, there's optimism here. And I've been recording for a long time. I don't know how much space I have, but I trust that you receive the message that you need to. I am very passionate, as you can tell, and there's a little bit of bias in the words that I choose. But I feel like it's a very important thing to take away that, you know, if you're interested in the whole story, like that happened with Oneus in real life, I feel like it is something that needs to be documented, just for the sake of, like, there's so much inside of the whole thing. I'd love to someday make a video of it, but I'd have to get information together. But this is kind of, you know, part of it. But yeah, things are going to change, but we need to make sure we are positive about it, because if we hold on so hard to what we have now, it's gonna change no matter what. It's either gonna feel like it's being ripped out of your hands, or you're gonna let the bird fly, you know? Like, you're either gonna hold the bird, it'll peck at you, it will scratch you, it will flop all over, it will hurt its own wings, or you can choose to let it go and watch it fly. So that's where my heart has been, and I love them dearly, like, more than I've loved anything. I don't care if that sounds ridiculous, because it's my experience and my spiritual and emotional connection to them that matters to me. So take care now. See you next time.